Once he fell flat on his face the first time around, Mark Martin never planned on going back to the Winston Cup circuit. He learned that lesson the hard way. Still, he had a family to support, a wife, and 4 daughters. When an opportunity came along to go Busch Series racing in 1987, it meant nothing more than a substantial raise. At first. But when word came that Jack Roush was starting a Winston Cup team, Mark had to listen. Anybody in his position would have. The relationship would eventually change the course of Mark Martin's life.
Well, even though I won the ASA championship in 1986, I still only made $50,000. I remember my tax return. And that's a lot of money in 1986, and it wasn't near enough for me and my family. I mean, it just wasn't. And you couldn't expect it to get any better going forward. Well, I had, at that point in time, I thought, well, I'm going to short track race for the rest of my life. That's what I'm going to do, because I sure as hell aren't going to let something collapse behind me again and then have to go back. Because that collapsed behind me, and going back was pure hell. And so he said, well, do this, do that, and I was like, I'd do it for $75,000 and like maybe 40% of the purse or something like that. And they got it agreed on, so now I'm getting a raise. So I still didn't plan on going cup racing. I just, planned on going Busch racing, but I needed to provide better for my family. And the decision was not to get to cup. It was to do better for my family. And of course, we won by Dover, so that was May or whatever. And it's starting to taste. I could start to taste it. And I was a Ford guy for several years now, so I should have been, a Ford recruit for Bud Moore's car or something like that. And so it started to occur and you started hearing a few people rumble a little bit about it. So it just came back gradually, and that's why when Jack interviewed me, I didn't ask him if he was going to pay me. I asked him, was he going to buy? How much was he going to test, and was he going to buy enough tires? Because I damn sure wasn't going to get a set of used tires put back on my car when I was going to run in the top 5. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen again to me. I just that was inexcusable.
And we can go ahead and jump into the Jack thing. It was your understanding. It was everybody on that team's understanding when that deal first came together that it was going to be a limited schedule.
Yeah, 24.
What had worked so well for you in 1981.
Yeah.
But then during the Charlotte Motor Speedway media tour, Jack all of a sudden says, we're going to run the full schedule, and Robin said that his head came up out of the trunk of one of the cars, and it was news to him. At that point, did you have any misgivings about running the full schedule because of exactly what you'd gone through in 82?
It didn't cross. I should have. Such a great question. I should have.
I've been doing this a while.
Yeah. Yeah. There, once again, my dumb self was just fine with it. I was so happy to have a job. After Jack left, the three of us stood around and did our jawing about the hell we going to do now. We got 2 cars built here. and it's January, and we're going to run the full season. So, and I think we had maybe 7 employees at the time. And of course, that excludes the engines, but I think we still had to complete the trailer. We built our own trailer. We bought the trailer box, and we outfitted the guys did. Those guys did the trailer and built the cars. And yeah, we were behind. Thinking back on it, why did we run so much better in '89? Because we had a chance to catch up. We finally got it because we never really picked up the pace. If anything, we ran better the first 8 or 10 races than we did the rest of the year. I mean, we should have won Bristol.
In '88?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. The early race, the first race. I mean, they gave it to us, and Jack lost it for us. So the book tells and explains to you that Robin might not have been, but I think he was. Steve was certainly, in my eyes, scared of Jack, and I was horrified of Jack.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah. He held my entire life in the palm of his hands.
Wow.
He's the only guy that would even talk to me.
Huh.
Don't forget. I'm dumb, but I knew that. So I was scared of Jack, and Jack was very intimidating anyway. And so he comes on so Elliot's leading, and I'm running third. Only 3 of us on the lead lap, and Bodine's second. Bodine turns Bill around. It's 5 to go or something, and he spins Bill out. So now I'm second. Steve says, pit for 4 tires. 3 cars on the lead lap, and Bill's behind us. And Jeff Bodine stays out. You can't lose the race. You can't lose it. And Jack comes on the radio. Wait a minute here. You have to think about this. So Steve, instead of saying pit,
does what Jack says.
Does what Jack says. And Jack admits it now. At the time, there wasn't a lot said about it, but he's said for years and years and years and years and years. But we were way ineffective for several years because of our intimidation and fear of Jack. I mean, he's a lot gentler soul in the 2000s than he was in the 90s, and we didn't know him, and he didn't know us, and he didn't trust us, and we were scared of him. So it was less functional than it could have been. I really regret, one of the things I really regret was that Jack, because he's so smart, that Jack couldn't be at the race shop every day. He came once a week, and he went to the races on the weekend because that's what he could do. And he told me when we met, he says, I've saved up. I thought he told me $4 million. I think he was willing to spend $2 million of his own money, and he was going to run, or $4 million. He was going to run 2 years, sponsor or not. And gosh, you can't run an ARCA team for a season for that now for $2 million.
Right.
Or it's
right.
That. Yeah. It's pushing $2 million. That's so insane. But anyway, yeah, and so he was committed to doing it, but he still had to run his business. And I understand that, but I'm still saying, and I'll stand on this rock forever, we would have been more effective if he'd have been there, because he would have known what was right and what was wrong. Because when we told him what was wrong, he didn't know if it was wrong or not.
Even with you guys pretty much terrified of him?
He was tough, man. I mean,
it would have helped, even though you were terrified of him. You still think it would have helped to have him there every day?
Yes, because
Okay.
I think we wouldn't have been terrified
Okay.
near as long, because I think he would have trusted us. We knew he didn't trust us. You could tell he didn't trust us.
Yeah.
And he didn't trust what we thought. And it made us feel like he thought he knew better than us. But I don't think that's what it was. I think it was he didn't know us. He was very afraid of being taken advantage of. Very afraid of being taken advantage of, because he couldn't be there to watch it.
Wow.
And if he'd have been there to watch it, he would have seen the heart that Robin had, and the heart that Steve had, and the heart that I had. It's like, dude, I just wanted to race. I had all kinds of, by that time, I had all kinds of racing equipment. I don't know why, but I had jacks and space heater, all kinds of stuff. I just brought it to that shop and left it, let them use it.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do is race to win, and that's why he hired me. I mean, I didn't care if he paid me or not. I just wanted to drive a car that could win. And like I say in the book, he almost didn't pay me the first year.
Do you remember, again, I keep asking about specific moments, but do you remember a point where you were like, okay, I'm home, and this is gonna work out?
It was a really gradual thing.
Or would you even let yourself believe that?
It was real gradual. The Rockingham win was such a relief, our first win, that it wasn't the one that everybody expects.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. But the pass on Earnhardt at Wilkesboro in 90, coming from the back of the lead lap after the pit stop, pulling the rubber, and driving through the field and in passing Earnhardt for the lead at Wilkesboro and winning that race. And we'd been leading the points since, that was in the fall, and we'd been leading the points since Sonoma. That was starting to feel like, yeah, I've probably made it. But I probably would have felt that way a little sooner. But Jack didn't want me to know just yet that he was happy with me.
Yeah.
See, we ran the spoiler laid back at Talladega, I believe 1989, quite a far back. And Neil was driving the Wood Brothers car, and he was hollering loose, and they had it up. We parked next to each other in the garage. After the race, Leonard was taking notice. And by that time, Leonard had been watching me at Dover, smoking tires and all things, crazy stuff that we did at Dover. And I never knew this, but he went to Jack and he said, "Jack, I'm going to hire your driver." And Jack said, "Well, you better have a suitcase full of money and a good lawyer."
Wow.
And Jack would have never wanted me to know that he felt that way about me at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at the end of the first year, Jack let it out, probably on purpose. I had no idea that I could possibly be replaced. He let it out. It crushed me. It crushed me. Yeah, we didn't have the year that we wanted, but it was a startup build team with no technical alliances or no nothing, nobody. It's just Steve and Robin and the little guys from that area, and so, yeah, we didn't have the first year that we would have liked to have had, but I sure wouldn't have thought my job was in jeopardy. Yeah. And I think that was part of his motivation, just like when he did two cars. Part of the one big part is that it only costs half as much to run the second team as it does the first team. So, there would be more money to put, overall or whatever, to the program. But I heard him tell the guys, challenge me. I heard him. And so, I mean, he motivated in a different way. His motivation, he did motivate.
Yeah.
But he motivated it in a different way, probably opposite direction from Rick Hendrick.